So you walk into this appliance store, and there's a back wall just full of dryers. And on the console, every one of these dryers has a sticker or placard that says that it is going to be good for years of dependable service. Well, the salesman will come up and he'll tell you the same thing. But what they don't tell you is that the technology inside that dryer hasn't changed in over 70 years. So why do modern dryers only last about 8 to 10 years when your grandmother's dryer lasted 30 or more? All right, now let's get to the picks. Before I named them, you need to know what I was looking for, because the criteria a repairman uses aren't the same criteria a sales associate uses. The sales associate is going to point at the touchscreen, the Wi-Fi connectivity, the 12 specialized cycles, the steam refresh button, and none of that matters to me. Every one of those features is a failure point waiting to happen, and most of them you'll never use anyway. I'm looking at the bones of the machine. How robust are the controls? How heavy is the cabinet? What's the drum made of? How big is the motor for the job it has to do? Can I get parts in 10 years from now without driving to 3 different supply houses? And when it does break, can a regular tech fix it? Or is it going to need factory training and proprietary tools? A magazine reviewer tests the dryer for 2 weeks and writes a review. I see them 3, 5, 8 years in when the truth shows up. And these 4 made my list because they passed that test. The first dryer on my list is the Maytag commercial grade residential model, and the model number is important here, so write it down. It's MEDP575GW for the electric version, and MGDP575GW for the gas. There are a lot of Maytag dryers out there with commercial sounding names slapped on the residential machines, and most of them don't earn that badge. This one does. This dryer is built on the same dedicated commercial assembly line in Marion, Ohio that we talked about with the Maytag washer in the last video. It's not a standard residential dryer with a different label. The construction is genuinely different. You've got a 7.4 cubic foot drum, which is one of the large capacities on this list. And there's a premium commercial motor and drive system, galvanized steel cabinet panels, ultra sturdy metal control knobs instead of plastic, and a moisture sensing system that actually works the way it's supposed to. The warranty is the part that ought to get your attention. 5 years parts and labor on the whole machine, and 10 years limited warranty on the drive motor and the drum. And that's not the kind of warranty you want to put on a machine you're not sure about. That's a manufacturer telling you exactly how long they expect this thing to last. Now, for the people coming off my last video, if you bought the Maytag MEDP575GW or the newer MEDP586GW washing machine, either one is the same machine, and either one pairs with this dryer. The same commercial grade construction philosophy, same parts ecosystem, same factory. Now, my honest take on the limitations. This isn't going to be the cheapest dryer on the floor. You're paying for the construction quality, and it's a fairly basic machine. You've got 11 cycles, dial controls, no Wi-Fi, no app. If you want a touch screen and smart features, this isn't your machine. But if you watch the first part of this video, you know I consider that feature not a drawback. If I were buying a dryer to match a Maytag washer, or if I just wanted commercial grade construction with the broadest possible parts and service network behind it, and this is going to be the one that I'd buy. Now, if you watched my last video, you saw me recommend the Speed Queen DC5 as the washer that I'd put in my own home. So you'd think the natural pair would be the matching Speed Queen DC5 dryer. And here's where I have to be straight with you, because this is the part of this video that some of you aren't going to want to hear. I can't recommend the Speed Queen DC5, and here's why. There's a documented design issue with the cycle selector knob on the DC5. If you turn that knob counterclockwise instead of clockwise, the timer can keep the dryer running indefinitely. Speed Queen acknowledges this in their own customer service responses. They tell owners the knob has to be turned clockwise. That's not a defect. that they're going to fix. That's how it's designed. On top of that, there are owner reports going back to 2022 of DC5 dryers overheating to the point of melting internal components, even in homes where the vent line has been verified that it's clear and the thermostats have been replaced. Speed Queen's response is, in most of these cases, has been to blame the homeowners venting. And that's not a position I can defend, and I'm not going to recommend a dryer to you when the manufacturer's response to the problem is to point a finger back at you. So what do you do if you bought the TC5 washer and you want a Speed Queen dryer to match it? Well, you go down a tier in the Speed Queen lineup to the DR3, the model DR3003WE for the electric and the DR3003WG for the gas. The DR3 is the simplest dryer in the Speed Queen lineup. Pure mechanical timer with rotary dial controls. No electronic logic to override the timer behavior. No control board to fail. The same commercial grade drum, motor, and drive system that's in the more expensive Speed Queens, just with the simplest controls Speed Queen makes. The trade-off is the warranty. The DR3 carries a 3-year warranty instead of the 5-year warranty on the DC5. And that's the price you pay for the simpler controls. But from where I sit, simpler controls mean fewer things that's going to go wrong, and that matters more to me than 2 extra years of warranty coverage. It's got the same American-made pedigree as the TC5. It's made in Ripon, Wisconsin. Parts are available everywhere, and any competent technician can work on it. If you bought the TC5 washer, this is a Speed Queen dryer that I'd pair with it. Now, the third dryer on my list might surprise some of you because it's the cheapest one on the list. But I want you to listen to why it earned a spot. Because this is the dryer most of you are actually going to buy. The Whirlpool WED4815EW for the electric model and the WGD4815EW for the gas model. Whirlpool has been building variations of the same machine since 1965. 60 years. The maintenance kit that fits this dryer fits dryers from 1965 to the present. That tells you something about how proven the design is, and you'll find this same platform sold under a half-dozen different brand names. Whirlpool, Maytag's Budget Centennial line, Kenmore, Roper, Estate, Amana, Crosley, Inglis, and they're all the same machine inside, different badge on the front. Same drum, same belt, same motor, same timer. And what that means for you is parts. Any appliance technician anywhere in the country can fix this dryer. The parts are at every supply house. They're on Amazon. They're on eBay. When something does need replacing, you can have the part in your hands in 2 days for $30 or less. Now, my honest take on this dryer, it's not built to the same standard as the Maytag commercial grade or the Speed Queen. The cabinet steel is lighter. The drum is powder-coated steel instead of galvanized. The motor is sized for a residential machine, not a commercial one. But here's what I'll tell you. If you do the 4 maintenance things that I told you about, clean the lint filter every load, clean the vent line annually, don't overload it, use OEM parts when something needs replacing, this dryer will last you 20 years, maybe 25. I've worked on machines like this from the 80s and 90s that are still running. The cheapest dryer on this list, treated right, will outlast the fanciest one on the floor that gets abused. And that's the truth that I want you to walk away with. Now, the fourth and final pick on this list is going to be the Miele heat pump dryer. And I'm going to be straight with you, the same way I was about the Miele in the last video. I have not had a Miele dryer come through my shop. I don't have personal hands-on experience with these machines, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. There are 2 things you need to understand about Miele dryers before I say anything else. First, in the United States, Miele only sells heat pump dryers. There is no conventional vented Miele dryer available here. So if you want to pair a Miele washer with a matching Miele dryer, this is what you're getting. A heat pump dryer is fundamentally different technology from the other 3 machines on this list. There's no heating element. There's a refrigerant compressor that moves heat through the air the same way a heat pump on your house does. The dryer plugs into a regular 120 volt outlet, not a 240 volt outlet. Well, I guess it's a 240 volt outlet in European countries. But in the United States, it's a 120 volt outlet. It's ventless, which means no vent line out the back of your house. Cycle times are longer than a conventional dryer. The drum is smaller, typically 4 cubic feet instead of 7, and it uses about 60% less energy than a conventional dryer. Second, service. Miele recommends that their dryers be serviced by Miele authorized technicians. And the reason has less to do with skill than you'd think. Any appliance technician who works on refrigerators already has the skills to work on a heat pump dryer. It's the same sealed refrigerant system, the same compressor, the same EPA certification requirements. The real issue is parts access. Miele restricts parts distribution to their authorized service network. So even if your local appliance tech has the skills, he may not be able to get the parts he needs to complete the repair. If you don't live within a reasonable distance of an authorized Miele service center, that becomes a problem when something fails. Now, here's why it's on the list anyway. Based on every credible review that I've read and the fact that a lot of you in the comments on my last video had good things to say about Miele, the Miele washers, I figured the dryer side deserves a serious look. The build quality is German engineered. The components are tested to a higher standard than residential dryers in the United States typically meet. And Miele designs these machines to last 20 years. If you live in a major metro area where Miele service is available, you've got the budget for a premium machine, and you're already buying a Miele washer to pair it with, this dryer is a legitimate consideration. If you live where I live in rural Louisiana or anywhere else where Miele service isn't readily available, save your money and buy one of the other three on this list. That's an honest take from a guy who hasn't worked on one but has done his homework. All right, let me bring all this together for you so you walk into the store knowing exactly which one to buy. If you bought the Maytag MEDP575GW or the MEDP576GW washer, or you just want commercial grade construction with the broadest possible parts and service network behind it, get the Maytag MEDP575GW or MGDP575GW. That's the dryer that I'd put in my own home if I were buying a Maytag. And those two numbers are electric and gas. If you bought the Speed Queen DC5 washer and you want a Speed Queen dryer to match it, I'd skip the DC5 and get the DR3003WE for electric, or the DR3003WG for gas. You give up 2 years of warranty for the simpler controls, and from where I sit, that's a trade you want to make every time. Now, if budget's tight and you just want a dryer that's simple, repairable, and proven over 60 years of production, get the Whirlpool WED4815EW for electric, or the WGD4815EW for gas. That same machine is sold under Maytag, Centennial, Kenmore, Roper, Estate, Amana, and Crosley badges. They're all the same dryer inside. Treat it right and it'll last you 20 years. And if you live in the major metro area, you've got an authorized Miele service center within driving distance, and you're already paired up with a Miele washer, then it's worth looking at the Miele heat pump dryer. Just go in with your eyes open about what heat pump drying is and isn't. Here's the thing I want you to remember more than any of this. Whichever dryer you pick, treat it right, clean the lint filter every load, clean the vent line every year, don't overload it, use OEM parts when something needs replacing. Do those 4 things and any of these dryers will last you 20 years. Skip them and the most expensive dryer in the world will fall apart in 8. Now, I'll put links to all 4 of these dryers in the description below, along with my Amazon storefront where I've got recommended tools and parts organized by repair type. If your dryer is giving you trouble right now and you don't want to replace it yet, check out my other videos. There's a good chance that I've already fixed that exact problem on camera. If this video helped you, hit that subscribe button. There are a lot of people out there who need this information, and YouTube only shows it to them when you engage with it. Comment below and tell me which dryer you're considering or which one you've already got and how it's holding up. The comments on the last video drove this one. Keep them coming and chip it.